Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Nice to see some people here already. Nice to be here with you. Can someone confirm to me that my microphone is working? Because I'm trying out a new microphone. It's been a bit muffled recently. Hi Polly, hi Karen, Mickey, Betty, hey John, Barb, Anna, Nikira, Cute Drawings, hi, Rosalind. Yeah, so where are you joining from tonight? Who's here? Hi Vera. Annette van Essen, hello. Juanita. Microphone's working, excellent. Good to know. Great. Thank you for having me, Sketchy. It's a pleasure to be here. Um, Denmark, Morocco, Canada, London, Lancaster, excellent. It's great to have you here, wherever you are, whatever you're up to. It's nice to be here together. So we're going to be working with Acorn Ink. Well, I'm going to be working with Acorn Ink and talking a bit about, you cut your first twig, Shannon, great. I have some new pens that I've cut for tonight. And I will just start off with an announcement that for the Sketchy Art School, there's a Memorial Day special. And if you sign up for 2 classes or more, you get 30% off with the code MD2020, which is awesome. So if you're thinking about joining my class and 30 Faces, 30 Days perhaps, which is coming up again in July, which is an amazing learning experience, which will be a fun kind of contrast of using natural materials to going with Procreate, which I also love, then jump onto that offer at the Sketchy Art School. That will be cool. Yeah, and now I'm going to show you a few different Acorn ink things, because this is the ink that I have used the most, and it's really classically inky, as opposed to some of the other inks I've been working with recently that are with using blossoms and flowers and having all these different colors, which is also wonderful. But that really, okay, cool. The info for the Memorial Day sale is posted under the video, and sales expire tomorrow, so just do it, sign up, it'll be awesome. Thank you, I got this. Thank you, Tangai. And Stina, hi, nice to have you here. Acorns and oak trees are just so wonderful. Here's a bunch of acorns I've collected, and it's a bit glary, but the acorn caps here. And I've made a bunch of different acorn inks just using the nut, or just using the cap. And sometimes I even wanted to try out different things. I peeled the skins off of the fruit of like the nut and just cooked it with like acorn skin ink. I'm sure you could do it with leaves as well. And basically anything that's high in tannin, you can make a really nice dark ink with. And the magical thing that we do with that is combining this tannin-rich ink that we have with iron. And the iron, so rusty things are going to become your new friends. I found a bunch of nails and rusty bolts and stuff recently, so always collecting these treasures wherever I go. I'll come back to the comments later on so I can focus on talking to you and not be too distracted. But I want you all to comment, it's great, and you can have conversations with each other, and I'll come back and look through at a couple of moments throughout the live stream. Yes, I will be showing how to make inks in an upcoming class. So I will be showing my favorite inks and some inks that I'm just trying out for the first time. I'll just be sharing my process with you, and it's great wherever you are. It doesn't matter what plants you have available. There's just such a diversity and amazing abundance of plant matter in nature that we can use to make inks with. So I will be talking about the plants that I have here and the plants that I use. but you'll be able to try it with whatever you've got in your area. So tannin-rich things, I'm sure even with black tea, you know, if you add some iron to black tea, it's going to make it darker, and you can make tea ink, you can make berry ink. There's a varies greatly in light fastness, but these inks I'm about to show you, Acorn ink with iron, is in my experience has been really good and light fast, and I've had pictures on the wall exposed to sun, and they still look as good as they did 4 years ago, and completely unprotected, and they're really light fast. Some inks will fade, some won't so much. So I'm going to switch over now to my workspace here and show you a couple of things. This is a portrait that I painted with Acorn ink, and here's a couple of sketchy ones, some of my favorites. Adam Vitri and Alex, and I love this because it has oak leaves in it, so a super nice reference to find. And here I have Jen's drawing from last week, and I added some Acorn ink to the glasses, and for some of the deep darks I put the Acorn ink in here to give it a bit more contrast. So this was done with chestnut blossom ink, and then I just kind of intensified that contrast with Acorn ink. And here's Big Al from Drawing with France, and he's drawn with Acorn ink as well. And as you can see here, can get quite a range. This is really black, and here's more of a brown kind of sepia color. So that depends on the iron content of the ink, and there's lots of different things. It's all just about experimenting and you know, trying out different processes and seeing what kind of results you have. And that's part of the amazing thing of making your own ink, that you come up with different results that you can use for different things. And I've got a few different inks here that I've made. I'll start with this one, and this was, so just a little bit left. I do use heavy watercolor paper. This one is not. I'm just going to do a few tests on it, and it's not a paper that I would super recommend. Thank you, Barb, for the question. And hello and hi to everyone who's just joined. It's great to have you here. So this is Acorn Cap ink with no iron, and we'll just have a look at that, see how it looks. It has this kind of dark tea color. So I hope this is crisp enough for you all to see. We've got this, it's a nice brown color. It's kind of similar to walnut ink. So that is the Acorn Cap with no iron. And I have one here, which is the Acorn Fruit, I think with no cap, because I separated them and tried them differently. It's a lot yellower. It's almost orange. It looks similar to the chestnut blossom ink that I made last week. So that's also without iron. And if you're using a pen that you've dipped in an ink that has iron in it, then you shouldn't use it again in your other non-iron inks, because it will just react and it's going to make it a lot darker, so we'll lose that kind of color. But for right now, this is okay. Let's show you these ones first. And this is, yeah, this is kind of heavy paper, but it's not super heavy. This one, it really bleeds into the paper. It's not awesome for this. And here is an Acorn ink, which is like super dark. Maybe have a look at this one first. This one almost has, it's got like a dark blue purple tint to it, because there was a really highly concentrated iron mix that went into it. And this one here is kind of, it's very dark, but it's like a dark brown. It has a discernible kind of brown tone to it. And the last one I'll show you here, which I think will work in, because I wanted tonight to be a bit more, or today, to be a bit more about this classic ink. So I've done some nice colorful inks the last couple of weeks, and this is going to be really, really inky and dark. And this one had this high concentration of iron in it, and it's a totally different, much cooler hue to this one here. Yeah. So it's like black and dark grey. So these are all Acorn inks, 4 totally different colours. And put poly over to protect afterwards, like put a synthetic coating to protect it. I guess you could. I tend not to. I don't. Maybe put it behind UV glass if it's something super special, but I don't like varnish or fix my pieces after they're finished. Another thing I wanted to show you, I didn't have it with me last week, is cherry sap. So these are some pieces of cherry sap, which I collect here. It's similar to gum arabic, which is a fixative. It's water soluble. You can put it in your ink and it's like a binder fixative that will fix it to the paper as well. So this will stay on the paper, but some pigments have little particles that you may brush off. So yeah, there's some of my cherry sap collection. Hello Elaine, nice to have you here. Elaine is from we have this awesome Tuesday drawing group. See, Elaine has just joined. And on that note, I like to start with a quick sketch just to get flowing. And I've got our awesome reference photo here of Remedy Rook. Hey Kathy, nice to see you here too. So I'm going to start with a quick drawing, and it's really good to loosen up like this. And every Tuesday, if you're interested in joining us, check out my Instagram. There'll be a link in there, and we do these like between 30-second and 6-minute drawings for 2 hours. Hang out, have heaps of fun, and draw each other a lot. So I'll start now with just doing a quick drawing, and then I'll be loosened up and hopefully do something really cool. And yesterday I collected, special for this occasion, some oak twigs, and I made some oak pens. So oak, acorns, it's all very oaky today. And I'm just going to kind of get into this. Quick drawing, it doesn't have to be amazing. It totally shouldn't be. It should just be, just get moving and get something on the paper. And yeah, Vin mentioned this awesome thing in 30 Faces, 30 Days about training your muscle memory. So you do this quick gestural drawing, and then once you're spending some more time, then you're already in some ways familiar with the face, and you start seeing different things each time that you draw it. Whoops. Yeah, so these quick drawings just get the pen moving. I'm not timing this tonight, but this one's just going to be super quick. And these things are super fun, especially when you're doing it live with a bunch of other people who are drawing each other, and we have a lot of fun together. I hear that my daughter's being put to sleep next door, singing a lullaby. All right, there's an ear, almost missed the ear, some earrings, and here's just a really quick drawing. Oh, I'm slipping out of the frame. Good to spot that here. Move up my paper. Yeah, so just draw and get free, loosen up with things, and then for me, it's just helped so much in my drawing practice to do these kind of quick loose drawings. And now we'll spend a bit more time, and if you have any questions, I'll occasionally look up and see if there's been any questions. Heavy watercolor paper, again, I'll just address that. I love this paper. It's 425 grams a meter square, 200 pounds, really heavy paper. It's kind of has a rough surface, cold press. Yeah. So it brings its own kind of tooth and quality and structure to the drawings and paintings. Kit stoked for my class, me too. Yep, I'll show you how to make ink. Beetroot ink was awesome, glad you liked it. Okay, yeah, I don't think there are too many questions yet. Cool. So now I'll just get to drawing Remedy Rook. Super cool photo. She's a tattoo artist, works in a tattoo studio, and we were chatting a bit on Instagram. Yeah, and this is just a really fun photo. You can see it's like taken in the tattoo studio and done this cool thing with her hair, and I really like drawing glasses. Some people don't, but I do. So I love the kind of distortion we get in the glasses, and these are just super fun glasses. So, we'll get to it. Made this kind of crazy long oak calligraphy pen. See how I go with it. It's feeling kind of heavy, but that could be cool. Just make sure I've got, yeah, top of my, since I'm up here, I'll just kind of start here. Yeah, so this is often the way I just go about things, just kind of start drawing. And this, as I've mentioned before, the great thing about ink and the scary thing is that, especially when it's like this black and inky, you know, so it's, once you've made your marks, they're just there. But that gets us really, hopefully, considering the marks we make and just being conscious about your choices. So I'm, as I'm doing this, not doing any preliminary drawing, preliminary drawing, often spending a lot of time kind of looking up and down, comparing things, and where's the hairline compared to the top of the glasses, and maybe put something down there to indicate that like landmark here. And just by comparing a lot and just measuring by eye, it will often hopefully help to find a good place to put our marks, and if we do all right, we might end up with a good likeness, and if not, that's okay too. And so it was cool yesterday. There's been some lockdown restrictions here in Germany, and there's this amazing place. It's not really a zoo, like an animal park, and it's near Sleeping Beauty's castle, Tierpark Saberburg in central Germany. The first time I went there and heard that this place even exists, that there's a castle, that's Sleeping Beauty's castle, I was just blown away. I totally love the idea that these old stories actually happened somewhere, and you can still go to the places where they happened. Yeah, and now the kind of the grounds of the castle, where I guess they used to go hunting and stuff, is an amazing animal enclosure. We went there yesterday, and there are really incredible oak trees there, and some of them are surely 1,000 years old. It's quite amazing. Really gnarly, ancient trees. And have anyone from Germany who's watching at the moment, has anyone been there to Zaberburg, Sleeping Beauty's castle? It's so cool. I'm not so much interested in the castle itself, but this place, they call it the jungle. So it's like a primal forest, or this really old kind of untouched forest with ancient trees in it, where they used to take care of these big old oak trees, and people would have their animals kind of walking through the forest and feeding there. And and just kind of living from and with these amazing big old trees. Yeah, I think one of my first acorn inks was with acorns I gathered there. So I just had a lot of ink come out into this little space where I didn't really necessarily want so much. And another little tip for working with calligraphy pens and ink is when you're dipping dip pens in general, if you want to touch to the edge of the glass before you bring it out, then it will you'll get rid of that kind of excess drip, which may cause some kind of unwanted splatter if you don't watch out. So I feel like I'm being pretty careful with this drawing at the moment. I guess that is my preliminary drawing. And then there'll be, just having mentioned that, maybe I'll just make some bigger marks here, which is just what I love about calligraphy pens. Yeah. You can collect chestnut blossoms after they're on the ground. And that's something which I think is wonderful once the pollination process is finished and plants just drop their blossoms. That's the perfect time to take them, because you're not, impacting the kind of the life cycle of the tree too much. But chestnut trees are just covered in thousands of blossoms. So if you take a few bunches, that's fine as well, I think. But once they're freely given, I think it's so much more wonderful. And today it was pretty windy here, and there were just chestnut blossoms raining, flying through the air. So yeah, being kind of careful around the eyes. So yeah, collect chestnut blossoms and make some chestnut blossom ink. Is anyone watching who was here last week who's already made some chestnut blossom ink, maybe? I know Stina has made some, which is awesome. It has like a really nice orange color. So I didn't realize I get this little pop sound if you ask a question. So feel free to ask questions. I think I can respond to your questions and draw at the same time. Even though I said I was going to do it later, you can still ask now. It'd be cool. And chat with each other. It's cool to know that there's people out there watching, talking, but maybe you're also busy drawing that it's hard to type and chat at the same time. And Stina made walnut ink today. Excellent. Tim is French. Je suis Australien. I don't speak much French though. Hello, Tim. Stina made walnut ink. Cool. And that pink walnut ink, did you put something like lemon juice or vinegar in it to make it pink? And Jude made beet ink. Awesome. Cool. Beet ink is cool. I still have some beet ink drawings lying around here. It's so easy and so cool. Ah, Lois is here from Geranium Petals. That's lovely. Cool that there's already, you're out there making ink already. That's awesome. So a lot of people ask about the light fastness of these natural inks. And beet is something which will definitely change with time. If you've got it closed in a sketchbook, then it'll stay really beety and pink for a long time. So if you haven't seen my beetroot ink video, you can check that out on the Sketchy YouTube channel. It was a lot of fun to make with my kids. So Shannon has signed up to learn how to make ink. It's cool that you're using a twig. Very cool. And I love like making twigs, pens out of twigs that we can just try different things out, different kind of points or flat edges or with a curve. Just get creative, try things out. And I love that whole kind of, for me, that's a lot the kind of spirit of making our own art supplies, just to really try things out and find out what fits for you, what you like to work with. And then you don't, it's still nice to have nice art supplies, nice brushes or whatever, but it's so much fun to make your own stuff. And I love with these kind of calligraphy pens that I'll just maybe put some as an example. You can just do big fat strokes, and then just on the point on the corner you can add really fine details and have quite a lot of control with a very simple tool, I think. I've got some tobacco ink, cool. Yeah, imitating other colors. So the tobacco ink, which has a hint of purple. Yeah, it's cool to kind of find out what we can do to imitate or try. It can be an epic quest to reach the point of being able to reproduce a color. Some colors are kind of more challenging to come by in nature, but it's just amazing what's actually possible. And I've had acorn inks, which I've mixed with peony petals, which has this kind of a bit of a reddish brown black color. So mixing different inks can be really interesting. And that's a cool thing if you've got such a bountiful supply from nature, like acorns at acorn time. There are just so many acorns. You can just collect so many of them and try different things. We always collect some, have a bag to feed to animals. There's a nice animal enclosure here with wild pigs and deer. And we can take them some acorns and then we can make ink. Hello, Remedy Rook. I hope I'm saying that right, like a chess piece, a rook. Nice to have you here. Nice to be drawing you. Such a cool photo. Everyone say hi to Remedy. And thank you for your wonderful face and for letting us draw you today. It's great to have you here. Hello, Anne. First time watching. Yes, I do teach how to make pens and inks. And if you join the Ink Naturally course with the Sketchy Art School, it's going to be full of ink making tips and my drawing process, where I really walk through step by step the way I approach things. I'm doing a bit here now as well, but I'm interacting with you as well, so it's a bit of a shared focus. But a lot of these inks and pens and stuff, they're wonderfully simple to make and really get us in touch with our surroundings and looking at the world with new eyes, fresh view upon the world of like, oh, can I make ink with that? What color is that going to give me? Oh, maybe I can make ink with that too. And that's something I always like to say. I feel like that, and my kids feel like that too. Like my 6-year-old, he's often bringing me stuff and treasures he finds along the way and asks if we can make ink from it. Ah, yeah. Anita has read the Organic Artist book. Cook beetroot juice. Yeah, there was something cool. I did like a follow up. If you saw my sketchy beetroot video, I did a follow up video, and I applied a bunch of different modifiers and stuff, and I actually cooked my beetroot juice, which at first was pretty raw. I cooked it, and the color changed, and that was super fun. Remy, I'm excited to have your photo and to have you here too. So it's great having you here. Oh, Kathy, yeah, cool. Eco dyeing as a way to get to know your land. That's it's basically the same. Dyeing and ink making is totally related. Uh, yeah, and it's just such a beautiful way to connect to where you are. I think even in suburbia, you don't have to live out in the land, but most places will have some kind of trees and decorative plants, and it's actually amazing uh, the colors that we are surrounded by, and maybe not even aware of it. Okay, and sketchy just, yeah. So, what Sketchy said, the month-long group class is going to be so cool. It'll be nice spending a month with you all, and we'll be drawing a lot together, trying out a lot of different inks, and I hope it will really, yeah, just encourage all of you to be curious and try a lot of things from your kitchen or your garden or your neighbor's garden or the botanic gardens. Um, yeah, just try things out while always, you know, respecting nature and taking from the abundance that is available, and not foraging things when there's only two plants and only a few blossoms. It's when you just see a field, a flood of flowers, or a tree is totally covered in flowers, or when the blossoms have dropped and the plants have been pollinated, then to be conscious of when you collect and what you collect and how much you collect, because we want these inky plants to proliferate and to be there next year so we can keep making more and more ink. All right, super nice shape here with the lips, nice dark lipstick, and nice opportunity to put down a lot more ink. Just wondering how much ink to push around here, because if I spread out the ink and get this kind of nice, yeah, start putting in some more of these kind of shadow shapes, like in the hair a bit, where it doesn't have the full intensity of the ink. It's got this nice grey. That's something that's, I think, is going to be nice for the lips because they're just so dark and such a attention grabber. So we want that to be nice and dark here. And so ink is permanent, and it's really quickly stain the page. But if you do find yourself in a situation where it's all a bit too much, you can use tissues or paper towel to lift a bit of the pigment from your paper. But I think this is looking pretty cool. It's just this nice graininess that's in the ink. I don't know how well you can see that from up there, but there's a lot of really nice, just a nice quality you get from natural inks. The shadow here is maybe a bit intense, but that's okay. you can push some things, and you can make this edge here. So getting a bit bolder with some of the lines and get some line variation happening. Barb asked, do I add shadow shapes with a brush or pen? It depends. Often with the pen, and sometimes I kind of map out a shadow shape and just fill it with the pen. I really like vertical hatching as well, and it's kind of similar to that. Sometimes I definitely use a brush as well. In the class, I'm going to be doing pen and brush work, like a combination of both. First week's going to focus on line work, so it'll be all about the way we use our pens, and then move into light and shadow, which is going to be pen work, but start doing some brush work as well. But the way I brush, I love flat brushes, which are just like broad edge calligraphy pens. And so I think there's really, there's a connection to the way I use brushes and the way I draw with a pen as well. Does adding iron eat into the paper? Timeold hell. I have drawings that are, I guess one I had here before. I think it's like 4 years old. Oops, I'm showing the wrong camera. So I think this is about 4 years old. It's not eating into the paper. I guess dyeing, if you're using textiles, it's also, I guess, wear and tear. It's kind of subjected to a different kind of usage as paper. But there's an amazing like natural colors and ink making and dyeing community on Instagram. And I read a post recently where someone's like, oh, this ink is so beautiful, but it's probably going to eat into the paper. So it could happen. But I don't get too hung up on the idea that these paintings should exist for an extremely long time. Maybe they will. Maybe some of them won't, and I'm fine with that. I did a mushroom ink painting, which changed color really fast. Oh, that's a good question, Tiffany. Hey, it's awesome having you here. So when I make Acon ink, because Acons are just so abundant, and I make like a liter of ink at a time. But if like this jar of Acons, you could already make, I guess, probably an ink pot's worth with this. But I have this big spaghetti saucepan that I fill with Acons, and so I use really a lot of Acons when I do that. But then I have like this batch of ink which lasts me for a very long time. Yeah, so that's a cool. And you're hoping it's 1 million. Yeah, you can make 1 million Acons worth of ink. That's a great idea. Anita asked about some more favorite books. The ones I showed last week, I'm going to get some more soon. There's the Organic Artist for Kids just came out at the start of this year, which is also awesome because I just love the kid friendliness of this stuff. I love doing stuff with my kids and just knowing that it's all really safe. I've grown the head from when I started the hair, but that's all right. And just I think it's interesting sometimes when I start to notice these things. I'm like, oh, I've just like been talking to you all and just totally shifted where my where my drawing should be. But that's okay. And in the hair, I think we can totally get away with it. You can double up or triple up on this drawing here, and it's all gonna be fine. Tapa. Hello, sir. Hello. Nice to have you here. Yes. And make that ink making a summer project. I'm super happy to see what you and your family do with your millions of acorns. And I'm kind of tempted to use it, but I don't think I'm going to use it. I have some copper oxide ink. So iron oxide is my jar of rust. It just has some metal things in it, and I put vinegar in there and let it oxidize. And just putting like a spoon of this into a jar of the cooked acorns will make it super dark. Um, Hello, Nellie from Florida. Hi, Janet. I'm looking forward to the course too. It's going to be lots of fun. And it's cool to really, I've already started recording a couple of the classes, and there's just such an amazing wealth of incredible reference photos to work from on Sketchy. And it's just been fun kind of searching through this amazing reference and seeing all these incredible faces and then to choose a few to draw together and to really just get into the whole process. And it's so much fun. So it's nice to be putting this together for you, this Ink Naturally class. Smeared a bit of ink over here. I often use the bottom of my page as like a smeary place where I can kind of push ink around and see how dark it is. And so I want to get some more contrast. I've got like 20 minutes left. Try and get some cool stuff happening here. So this particular ink, I can kind of push it around a bit and get this nice gray. You can also, if you've got some really intense pigment, you can mix it with water, just like you would with a watercolor. And just play around with the intensity of your color. So I've lost the pupil a bit here, but later on I'll be able to come back and add like some extra darkness to the pupil. People talking. What about using copper? Did I start talking about it and just totally forget what I was saying? The copper oxide, I think, is probably the least healthy, the least kid-friendly color that I've made. So I've only actually used it in one drawing so far, and it's incredible. It just is lovely blue color, but I kind of really have a lot of respect for it, and I don't want to endanger anyone's health with it. It's like corrosive, but yeah, having these metals in the inks is something that really helps with the light fastness. So I think some of these ink portraits, acorn ink portraits with this ink iron in it, which I've made, and they look just amazing. Well, if they looked amazing, the quality of the ink, the intensity of the ink looks just as amazing as it did the day I drew it. And I've made some other inks, some other plant inks, which totally change their quality and intensity with time and oxidization. But I also think that's just totally fun part of the process of getting to know these different plants and their qualities and the kind of way I can use them in my art. Hello, Marcia van Holland. Nice to have you here. Retro Samson, hi from Guyana, hello. What's up with my brush? This is a carved oak twig, carved to be a broad edge calligraphy pen. That is what's up with my brush. Yeah, making ink from nature is wonderful. I see you have flowers in your profile picture. Yeah, it's so much fun making ink from nature. Hey Jude. Refrigerating the ink is a good way to preserve it, especially with like edible inks, beetroot ink. So yeah, I made this beetroot ink video, and a lot of these natural inks will definitely mold, just like any kind of organic biological substance can be prone to molding. And there are a few things we can do to prevent that. Refrigeration, adding cloves, adding a few cloves to a jar of ink will prevent molding, or clove oil, which is like a more processed, refined, natural anti-mold gear that we can use. But yeah, just using cloves is fine. And if it does start to get moldy, also filtering, like taking out the solids out of the ink, is kind of less for the mold to feed on, I guess. Filtering things out. But if it does get moldy, you can just scoop it off and still use the ink. Saving some red poinciana petals for the course. That's cool. I don't know what that plant is, which brings me to an important point. Make sure you educate yourself on the plants that you're using, because you don't want to harm yourself or anyone else. And some things in nature are just super poisonous. So it's good to check out what you're using, and if you're not entirely sure what it is, or you think it's something safe, just make sure you look it up, check it out, because yeah, you don't want to hurt yourself or anyone, because some things can really be detrimental to one's health. The outline sketch is perfect for stick and ink. Thank you. It's lots of fun to work with sticks and ink. So I start noticing here just some of the distortions that have kind of been sneaking into my drawing. Like maybe I'd put the nose somewhere else. It's all kind of, the face is growing as I work towards the bottom of the page. That's okay. Oh yeah, the walnut ink. Walnuts can get really smelly. So cloves is good. Refrigeration if you have the opportunity to, but it's super important to separate your potentially poisonous ink with food stuff. So if whatever you're using to make ink with, if you know it's not edible ink and like safe plant materials, or if you're not sure about it, then it's good to have your pot and your jars and whatever utensils you use in their own safe place, not necessarily in the kitchen. But yeah, moldy, smelly walnut ink, I've had that happen too. I've really gotten to know mold since I've been making natural inks. Avocado peels make some pink tint, and the seeds, avocado ink is incredible. So yeah, you can definitely use them. You can just grate avocado seeds, really nice and fine, and then yeah, grated avocado seeds or cooked. They make a really wonderful ink. It's such an incredible peachy, pinky, orange color. And something I will be talking about more in some videos that I've made, and in the course will be about different modifiers and different things we can add to get to shift the colors of our inks. But I like to keep it as simple as possible, like stuff you can collect yourself or get from the supermarket. I really have a lot of love for, because you can start making some pretty complicated stuff, but I love the simplicity of some of these inks, and just grating an avocado seed after you've had your lunch and then putting some hot water on it and painting with it. It's so direct and so much fun. Oh yeah, that's it. Adding alcohol will prevent mold growth as well. But as I just said, the thing about sourcing things from the supermarket or things that I collect and forage myself, and I don't make high proof alcohol, but you can get it from the chemist or drugstore. This what do they call it, rubbing alcohol, like really high percentage alcohol. A few drops of that will stop your ink getting moldy too. The layering of the colors depends on the it can depend on the binder or fixative that you have in the ink, and it's totally also dependent on the paper that you're using, because it can, once the shape, area has been painted, it kind of encourages the ink to bleed and flow back into that. But if you have some, it's going to prevent that bleed from happening so fast. And you can, back to the alcohol thing, you can make alcohol-based inks, and they dry much faster. But it's the thing I've not done much of. I want to for my fountain pen, so I can use it for being out and about, urban sketching at events. So my ink will dry much faster. Yeah, fixatives and alcohol are two potential things that will enable you to layer up in a watercolor type way. Because often I think my approach is pretty watercolory, especially when I'm painting with natural inks. I have this. This is kind of layered like a watercolor painting. But it's just all sepia tone, so it's kind of reduced and simple approach, I guess. But if you're using different colors and they have different pH values and stuff, they can interact in really interesting ways. So you can have something which is kind of it may look pink, but then it mixes with, or it's mixes with something that's more alkaline, and then that pink shifts to almost like a green color depending on what you're using. And there's some pretty like far out amazing things that happen with the colors when they have different pH values. Which is so much fun. Makes you feel like an alchemist or witch or wizard. Yeah, cool. Eleanor says that her walnut ink is more than 4 years old and not stinky. That's awesome. My first ever ink was actually a walnut ink, which I made to stain wood. And then I asked a friend, what can I use? What natural stuff can I use to paint with? And she was like, you can use walnut ink. I was like, I've got a jar of walnut ink that I made years ago, a walnut stain. And I did put alcohol in that, and it was just as good as the day I made it. So alcohol is a pretty easy way to preserve it. Because sometimes even when you put cloves in, it may still kind of, something might start growing on it. But I don't know if any of you have drunk kombucha. It's kind of similar. You get this kind of layer of stuff growing on your ink, but don't drink it. Yes, Dina, cool. Applying thinly and dries up fine for layering. So that's what I've often done. I did like almost 50 paintings of Acorn ink of yoga teachers. If you look down a bit in my Instagram feed, you'll see all these paintings, and that's the approach that I had there, where I'd like put down the line work, and then I'd fill in the shadow spaces with a brush, let it dry, and then build it up. And I did a lot of layering there, so you can check that out on my Instagram feed if you want. But yeah, it's a very watercolory way of working with it, and I love that kind of layering quality you can get from it. Oh, it's almost been an hour already. Cool. So how's everyone going? Who's been drawing along? I'm always amazed when people are like watching something, drawing at the same time. It's just it makes so much sense. It's a fun thing to do. But sometimes it's good just to kind of watch what's going on, take things in, but drawing at the same time it's cool. So who's been drawing along? Like sometimes I'm amazed when I see these broadcasts have ended, and then within minutes people are uploading onto Instagram the drawing or painting they've just done. Oh, that was so fast. Yeah, and if you're Francesca's drawing, awesome. And if you're drawing this, then on Instagram you can tag me, and I would love to share your work. So at Dylan_Sara. And someone last Tuesday in our group portrait sketching session kind of suggested tagging something similar to drawing with France. So maybe drawing with Dylan. You could hashtag that, and I like the alliteration, drawing with Dylan, 2 Ds, sounds cool. And whoever tags that, I'll share your work in my stories that you've done, which is related to the classes that I'm teaching. And if you want to hang out and draw each other on Tuesday, then come draw with us. It's so much hours of time, portrait sketches. What can I do? I wonder if there's something I can do in the last minutes here to make this pop more. I like some of this messy hair stuff that I've just done, putting in much more ink. So it's being very controlled and careful and tame down here, and I love that kind of contrast of this, I don't know, wildness up here and kind of being more controlled down here. Spraying with lemon juice, Betty asks, it'll change the color of your ink probably. There's some awesome stuff we can do where you put lemon juice in and it totally changes the color of your ink. So I don't know if it will prevent molding. It will probably change the color of your ink. John is drawing with acorn cap ink that he made this week. Awesome. And an apple tree branch turning into a mess. I hope you're having fun with your mess though. You could also, if you've got a lot of apple tree branches, if there's been some pruning done, you could like make apple bark ink probably. I've got a bit of a smudgy thing happening over here, that's all right. Yeah, so thanks for being here with me. Thanks for tuning in and drawing together. Thanks for everyone who's been asking questions and putting stuff in the comments. So I guess it's almost time to end. This is where we're at. How's it look? Is Remedy still here? How do you like it? Alright, I guess I might add a little bit more to it, but for now, this is pretty happy with what we've done in our time together. Yeah, so if you're into drawing together with people and making ink, or you're interested in making ink, sign up for my Ink Naturally class. And today, there's a super cool deal that you can, for 2 classes, get 30% off. Sketchy, thank you for having me again. It's great. Eleanor asked, what's the cherry sap for? It's a binder, a fixative. Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot, everyone. Just want to kind of keep drawing, but it's nice, nice just to see what you have to say, see that you're all here. A little beard coming in there. Hi. I might just swap over. Okay. So, Big Al is here. Thank you, Big Al. I kind of copied your drawing on crumpled paper thing and did a self-portrait on some screwed up packing paper. Elaine, thank you. It's cool to see a few people from our Tuesday night drawing sessions here. Everyone's welcome to come along, so come and draw with us. Lots of fun. Remedy, you're totally welcome. Thanks for letting us draw you, and hope you have lots of fun tattooing and playing with ink. We love ink. You're welcome, John, and everyone else. Yeah, you've signed up, and Angelina, wonderful. I am looking forward to spending a lot more time with all of you in June and making lots of ink and art together. It's going to be super cool. And there'll be some more videos coming up between now and June, working on something about Acorn ink. And yeah, it's fun creating this stuff and sharing with you all. Juanita signed up, excellent. Hazy Jane, looking forward to an ink adventure. Yeah, I like ink adventures too. Rosalind, you're welcome. All of you, you're welcome. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful night, a good sleep, a great week. And I'll be back live streaming next Sunday, which is going to be the lead-in to the class. So I'll be drawing with a focus on line work, and we'll kind of unpack that throughout the week in the first week of June when we focus on line work. So next week's live stream, tune in. It's kind of like, it's almost like the first class, but not. Yeah, it'll be lots of fun. And yeah, Diane, thank you for signing up. Thank you, all of you, for signing up. Tell your friends. Get everyone to come and draw together. It's going to be really great. And I guess for now, that's it. Have a wonderful time. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing your drawings of Remedy Rook. So tag, share, post, and have fun making art. All right. Thanks for all your comments. Lots of love to all of you. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.